10th, the strong room of Clayton's Incorporated in San Francisco was invaded by 3 masked and costumed robbers who gained entrance by unlocking the door with a duplicate key. The affair was well organized and carefully routined. The robbers worked swiftly. Not a word was uttered. The coverall costumes, the matching masks, and the menacing guns spoke for themselves. In 8 minutes, the invaders had gathered almost $1 million and departed. Only one thing seemed unrehearsed: the fatal shooting of Ed Hamilton, the guard at the door of the strong room. Miss Vera Nelson, the strong room checker, recalled that Ed Hamilton had cried out in protest just before the shooting. The attempt to solve this sensational robbery is the subject of tonight's Crusader, starring Brian Keith.
I've been in Washington doing some work for the Federal Commission investigating crime. For 15 months, the authorities have been stymied in their attempts to solve the Clayton robbery. 15 months without a trace. I'd only been with the commission a short while when a lead came up in Los Angeles. It was thrown in my lap. My orders were to check with Alan Kingman in charge of the Los Angeles office. I arrived there to find him with a Miss Vera Nelson waiting for me. Miss Nelson was a trusted employee of Clayton's and had been present at the time of the robbery.
Now, Miss Nelson, will you tell Mr. Anders what you told me last night?
All right, but I'm beginning to think maybe I'm crazy.
Well, just tell it the way it happened.
I'm on vacation. Ever since it happened last year, I haven't been myself. Seeing those robbers walk in like that and watching Ed Hamilton shot down in cold blood.
You were on vacation?
Clayton's insisted I take a month, with pay. I'd heard about Lake Arrowhead, and this seemed my opportunity to see it. I flew down here to Los Angeles, hired a car, and started to drive there, but missed a turnoff and wound up on a side road out of gas. I left the car, walked until I saw a sign pointing to a gas station. That's where I saw him.
Saw who?
One of the Clayton robbers.
You don't mean a man dressed in coveralls and wearing a rubber mask put gas in your car at the filling station?
He wasn't dressed in coveralls. He was wearing a shirt and face like everybody.
Oh, you mean his regular face looked like the rubber masks that the robbers were wearing?
Exactly. I told the inspector that last night.
Hey, Miss Nelson, you think you could show us on the map where that filling station is?
I can do better than that. Leon gave me one of his cards.
Leon?
The robber.
Hauling and pushing, $1 an hour?
Hi, folks. Fill her up?
Yeah, fill it up. You, Leon?
Sure am. Headed for Forest Lodge?
No, we just came around to see you. We wanted to thank you for being so nice to a friend of ours the other day, Miss Nelson.
Miss Nelson?
She ran out of gas here a couple of days ago. You drove down the highway to get her started.
Oh, yeah, her. Right pleasant lady. Say, is she all right?
Sure, why?
Well, she kept looking at me so. I thought maybe she recognized me. But she drove off without saying anything. Don't you?
Don't we what?
Recognize me? No, I guess not. That's been 2 years ago now.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, there wasn't much. Some magazine came out with a lot of stuff about the average American. You know, so tall, weighed so many pounds, blue eyes, brown hair, 24. married, 2 children, $84 in the bank. Well, the day the story came out, I had $84 in the bank, and the fellow started kidding me about it. You know, calling me Mr. Average Man. Darned if everything else about me wasn't just what that magazine said. The local papers ran a story about it. But that was years ago, and people forget. I got my picture drawn, though. Some fella came all the way out from town. Name was, Dean, Danny Dean. He was a dancer. Said he was going to make me famous. He built me up so he went off with 10 gallons of gas without paying for it.
Oh. Yeah.
Thanks.
Look, were you around here about a year ago, say, 10th of May?
Oh, that's an easy one. Every year, the first 2 weeks of May, I'm at the Sawtell Veterans Hospital. My back. Korea. Say, it's too bad you're not running a quiz show. I might hit the jackpot.
Yeah, too bad. Thanks a lot, Leon.
Call again, gentlemen.
You bet. Nice drive.
Yeah, I don't know what that Nelson woman was thinking about. That Leon guy's about as disarming as you can get.
Well, you think it's worth bringing out anybody else to take a look at him? Any of the Clayton people who saw the robbery?
Well, it can't do any harm, but I think we ought to call the Veterans Hospital first and check with them. If Leon was there at the time of the robbery, we're at a dead end.
I'll drive out to the house with me. We can sit around after dinner and lick our wounds.
No, thanks. I'll get something to eat at the hotel. I want to go over those statements from the Clayton witnesses again. There's got to be some way to unravel this thing.
I hope you find it. Every time I grab at a loose end, it turns out to be just that, a loose end. I had high hopes for Vera.
You know, there's one thing she said right after the robbery. She never mentioned it again in any of the other statements.
Maybe she was in shock. Maybe she still is.
Yeah, maybe. But she said that one of the robbers, the one that shot Ed Hamilton, moved like a woman.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, a male dancer could move like a woman, couldn't he?
You thinking about Danny Dean, the fellow who came out from town to draw Leon's picture?
Yeah, and didn't pay for the 10 gallons of gas.
Far-fetched, isn't it?
Clayton robbery's far-fetched. Yeah, hello.
Hello, Matt. I just got the word on Danny Dean, the dancer. He was killed a few minutes ago. Shot by mistake in a holdup at Maine.
Right.
Hi, Anders.
How are you?
Haven't seen you in ages.
What do you got?
Well, an accidental shooting looks like. Special officer by the name of Martin with Allied Surety Company. You know, watchman guard, that sort of thing. Saw this man come running out of the store. Heard the proprietor yell, "Stop, thief, stop." Well, the guy didn't stop. Just about the time that he fired his shot, some other guy stepped out from the shadows, been identified as, Danny Dean. Caught the bullet right in the head.
Did you see it happen?
Nah. One of our prowl cars heard the shot and was over here a few seconds later, but...
Where's the special officer now?
Inside? I got everybody inside the hock shop.
Take a look at him.
Sure. This is, Fred Damon. He owns the shop. Martin, you want to wait outside for a minute?
Sure, Sergeant. Too bad to have to meet this way, gentlemen. This is a sad affair.
Yeah, you want to tell us about it?
1:20, a man came in.
You open for business that late?
Well, people need help at all hours. We're here to help.
Well, what kind of help did this fellow want?
Wanted a look at some watches. People in trouble frequently do that. Takes them a little while to work up to what they really have in mind, especially if they've never been in before.
This one was a stranger, huh?
Yeah. Tall, dark, a worn blue suit, no hat. Well, anyway, I got a tray of watches out of the case. He looked at them for about a minute and even picked up a couple of them, as if he wanted to examine them closer. Then all of a sudden, he made a dash for that door. So I hollered, "Stop thief." Then I heard Martin call halt. Then I heard a shot. When I got outside, Martin was bending over a body. It was Danny Dean. He was dead.
Did you know Dean before?
Oh, I know everybody in this part of town. Dean runs a dancing school right down the street.
Oh. That's all the lights you ever have in here, Mr. Damon?
Customers prefer it that way.
Oh. All right, officer, you want to let him in, please? We're up to where Damon yelled. You want to take it from there?
Well, I was making my rounds, trying doors, looking in windows. I hear this call, stop thief. Saw a man run from the hock shop. I called halt. He kept running. I called again. He ran into a dark shadow. I waited until he came into the light. I called halt again. He didn't, so I fired. Ran over to the man. He was dead. Then Damon came over, took a look, and told me I'd shot the wrong man.
Now, wait a minute. A man ran out of the shop and into the shadows. And when he came out of the light again, he wasn't the thief. He was Danny Dean, right?
Yeah, that's about it. Then this squad car comes around the corner.
Those officers, Considine and Schultz. Here's a report.
How far away were you when you shot?
60, 75 feet.
Pretty good shoot.
I'm a pretty good shot.
All right, Sergeant.
Okay, Martin, come on, let's go.
Where are we going?
I'm going to have to book you.
What for? Damon yelled, stop, thief. I stopped him. That's what I get paid for.
Yeah, I know. Well, the coroner's jury will decide that. Yeah. I want to talk to you some more, Damon, so don't go far, will you?
I should leave here? Well, practically everything I own is right here in this room.
Stick with it.
They're beauties, aren't they?
For sale?
They are, if I can find another matched pair.
It looks like those bottles they used to have in the windows of the old-fashioned drugstore.
You remember that, huh?
Sure. My grandfather had a drugstore. He used to hang around there when I was a kid. I'll be seeing you, Mr. Damon. Fred Martin live here?
Are you looking for him? Special, local?
National.
Oh, well, come on in. First time I've seen one of you boys close to.
Thank you.
Let me fix you a drink.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, here's news?
No. Who won the big fight?
Well, I know. I don't know who won, but, Fred lost.
Really? What happened?
Well, he killed some guy.
Who?
A fellow named Danny Dean, you know him?
No, I never heard of him.
It's funny. I mean, when I told you Fred killed somebody, you could have said a lot of things like what, where, when, why, how. All you said was who.
Well, I'm a who girl. I guess that's been the trouble all my life. Who's been more important than anything else. I've been tied up with some dillies.
Well, looks like you're doing all right now. First cabin. Fred must be a pretty good provider, huh?
Yeah, he does all right for a night watchman.
Are you going out?
Oh, it's an idea. How long are they going to hold Fred?
Oh, I don't know. A couple hours till he gets bail.
Well, in that case, I better wait here and help him cool off. How about some music?
Well, not for me, thanks. I gotta run.
What for?
Well, I'm a day watchman.
Well, call me someday.
Wake Fred up.
And call me some night.
I might have smeared it up a little when I carried out of the apartment, but there's probably a couple of good prints left on it.
I'll have it checked, man. About Leon, the average man. He was at Sawtell Veterans Hospital last May, the date of the Clayton robbery.
What about Fred Martin? They must have printed him when he got his gun permit. Probably did it again last night when they booked him.
Nothing. Army, yes. Judo instructor. Police, no record. No record on Damon. Must be a bunch of amateurs.
Well, not Faye. She's no amateur. Keep checking on her.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, bar work, girls. You want a ballroom lesson?
No, thanks. I just wanted to talk to somebody about Danny Dean.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Anders. I'm Jean Audrey, Danny's assistant. What can I tell you about him?
Well, just about anything that might explain what he was doing on Main Street last night when he got himself killed. You know, there was a picture of the man that shot him in the paper this morning.
Fred Martin?
Yeah, do you know him?
He's been up here a couple of times talking to Danny, trying to get him to take that night watchman service he peddled. But I don't know. It sounds like mighty big talk for a $10 a month deal.
Yeah. Well, just for a minute, let's talk about a year ago, say, around May, huh?
We were doing an adagio act in a tent show. Danny hurt his back doing a lift, so I went to Las Vegas with a line of girls.
Did you see Danny again after that?
In November, he wired me to come home, and we were in business.
Was he the businessman of this combination?
Danny? No. Danny was an idea man, a new idea every day. Never had time to finish anything, though. Lately, he'd been going back to some of his old ideas. Had a line on a television show. Was talking about doing the Average Man ballet. He came to the theater one night all excited, had a sketch of some fellow, Mr. Average Man. Danny was going to do a dance based on the character, where all the men wore masks to make them look alike, and the girl went crazy looking for her lover.
Danny ever do anything about it?
Not much. Made a couple of the masks, but then the bottom fell out of things.
That's when you went to Vegas, huh?
The Moroccan.
Well, whatever happened to those masks?
They ought to be in his trunk.
Oh, that's quite a collection.
Danny called it his catalog. Ideas filed for future reference. When he got stuck, he'd paw through here.
I don't see anything looks like a mask to you. No, here's a sketch. Oh, is this the Average Man, this guy?
Yeah, that's the one I told you about, the one he made the masks from. They should be in here.
Look, could anybody else get into this trunk?
Well, that depends. When Danny went away and he had money, he'd store it. When he didn't, he'd hawk it. This thing's been in more hawk shops all over the... Oh, is that good for Danny?
It's not bad. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
When I got back to Kingman's office, Damon, the hawk shop owner, was there. He'd been complaining about all the inconvenience the case had caused him. When he finished complaining, he started to leave.
Good day, gentlemen. Thank you for the time.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Damon. Did you and Danny Dean ever do any business together?
Do you mean that I take dancing lessons?
No, not exactly. I mean, I just thought possibly at some time he might have availed himself of your unique services.
If he did, that would be a matter of record according to law, as you know. My books are open for your inspection at any time.
By the way, did you?
Did I what?
Take the dancing lessons?
Not exactly.
He wants to cooperate if we can tell him what we're looking for.
You know, if he doesn't know what we're looking for already, he's not going to help us.
You think he does?
I think Danny Dean hocked a trunk someplace before the Clayton robbery. If he left it with Damon, it's going to save us a lot of legwork. Anything on Fay Martin yet?
Not yet.
And we got to get something pretty soon. I want to walk up to some of these people and ask them questions they're not going to laugh at. Hello, Charlie. Matt, Anders. Yeah, well, I just got in town a few days ago. No kidding. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Listen, Charlie, you book acts up at the Moroccan in Vegas, don't you? Well, do you remember if you sent a girl up there about a year ago named Jean Audrey for a dance act? May. Huh? Okay, go ahead. I'll hang on, Charlie. Yeah. Looking it up.
Oh, Fred Martin was suspended by that outfit he works for, and the police revoked his gun permit until the coroner's jury decides the question of criminal negligence.
Well, he knew Danny.
Oh? How well?
Well enough. Yeah, Charlie. kill him. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, April 25th. June 10th, huh? Okay. Now, look, Charlie, could she have ducked out of there for like a couple of days along toward early May? Uh-huh. I see. Okay, Charlie, yeah. Yeah, you bet. Well, that leaves two people in the clear. Leon, the average man, and Jean Audrey, the dancing partner.
Come in. I'm glad to see you.
What's the matter?
Damon.
Damon, I want...
I found him just like that.
Barefoot?
Propped on a stool, hands tied behind his back with that necktie. I just cut him loose when the bell sounded. I got panicky for a minute. I thought maybe whoever it was would go away. Finally went to the door and found you.
How long you been here?
Just a couple of minutes before you got here. He was dead then.
Hands tied, bare feet, bruise on his chin. What do you make of that?
Somebody slugged him, tied him up, and pulled his shoes off.
What for?
Work on his feet. Make him tell where he keeps his money.
Keep a lot of money here?
Somebody must have thought he did.
He only got a bump on his chin. Could that kill him?
Maybe his heart stopped when he got clipped. He's the brainy type. They can't take it.
You phone it in?
No. That's what panicked me. I knew I should, but I can't afford to stumble on a body so soon after Danny Dean. You know.
Yeah. Where's the phone?
The cage.
You expecting a call? Hello?
Matt, I've been calling you all over town. Finally got the word on Fay Martin.
Good, let's have it.
Caught up with her on a passport. She went to Paris to work in a cafe 4 years ago. Married, childhood romance, never bothered to get a divorce. Who do you think her husband was?
I gave up.
She was married to Ed Hamilton, the guard who was killed in the Clayton robbery. That's how they got the key to the strong room.
So cute.
Is Fred Martin there?
Yeah.
Martin probably met Fay in Paris when he was there in the Army.
Yeah, so the one that walked like a woman,
Of course. Couldn't be anyone but Fay, dressed in one of those Halloween outfits. I'll be over as soon as I can.
Okay. So Fay killed her own husband, huh?
You're crazy.
She found out you were a 5 and 10 crook. She wanted to get somebody who could think big, like Damon here. You two and Damon. What'd you kill Danny Dean for? Did he miss something when he came back for his trunk?
No. It was an accident.
No. Damon had the money. You were trying to get him to tell where it was, so you clipped him on the jaw and you killed him by mistake, didn't you?
No, it was his heart.
Where's the money now?
You tell me.
Inside this house is a couple who adopted a baby outside regular channels. Though they did so out of love and affection, they risked danger they never dreamed of.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hinshaw, but you've got to understand the position of the baby's mother. The real mother, that is.
What do you mean, real mother? Johnny's our son now, and I'm his mother. Mr. Smith told us that when we took him.
How could any of us anticipate that the mother would discover who adopted her child? Now, what's your interest in this, Mr. Robinson? I'm acting in the mother's behalf. Well, can't you tell her that we've given her our last cent? Where will this end? This should be the last. Now, you said that before.
She's a woman. Tell her to think of the baby's welfare.
Right now, she says she wants $1,000. Otherwise, she'll go to court. You'll lose Johnny. It's as simple as that. And if we fight, no court in the country would deny a mother her baby. Not if she now says she gave him away under duress. Oh, surely you can raise the money somewhere, Mr. Hinshaw. We all can, if the urgency's great enough. I'm sorry. I'll see you next week.
The story of the black and gray market in babies, one that has become so serious that a Senate subcommittee has conducted hearings on it, is the subject of tonight's Crusader, starring Brian Keith.
Sorry Hinshaw were a couple I'd introduced in Europe. Sorry had escaped from an Iron Curtain country, and John met her while he was working abroad. He brought his new wife to America. Their first letters were filled with the joy of two people who'd found a wonderful new life together. Then they wrote they'd finally succeeded in adopting a baby. For sorry, it was another in a chain of miracles.
I'm sure glad you could make it, Matt.
Your letter sounded pretty urgent.
Yeah, we're in trouble. Terrible trouble. We can't turn to anybody else but you.
What do you mean you can't?
I mean, can't. I'm not going to take it any longer. Matt, you know what Sari went through before she came here. You saw how much that baby meant to her. Well, this is how far they pushed me.
You want to tell me what it's all about first?
When Sari and I came back here from Europe, we wanted a family. The doctor said that was impossible, so we did the next best thing.
Lots of people who adopt babies, sure.
Well, the regular adoption agency told us we'd have to wait for at least 2 years. There was a problem in the difference in our background. Well, they don't just give you a baby when you ask for one. We were impatient. We wanted a family right now.
So you went someplace where you could get one in a hurry, huh?
Well, it was a good place. There's nothing illegal about it. It's just that, well, you're really buying a baby.
You've told him everything?
Enough. So now these people are using the baby to get money out of you, right?
They say if we don't pay, they've got the real mother, and she wants the baby back.
At first they claimed she needed help. Now we don't know what to do.
Who are these people you gave the money to?
Why, what difference does it make, Matt? Robinson didn't fool me. I know it's some kind of a racket, but they've got us. Only we're not going to give Johnny back.
Maybe it is my fault. But Johnny's become like our son. And John knows I would give up everything to save him.
They've taken every last dollar we've got in the world.
You have to get the law on your side.
The law? The law would say that the mother had a right to her baby.
How do you know there is a real mother?
These people are operators. They know what they're doing. Every word they told us about the mother checked with what we found out at the adoption home.
How did they get in touch with you? Aren't these adoption homes supposed to keep that information private?
Of course, but Mr. Smith would not have done that.
Maybe I better talk to Mr. Smith. You take precautions to protect foster parents, don't you?
Oh, yes, indeed. We run a licensed home here. We try to preserve anonymity for the sake of the new parents as well as those who put their babies up for adoption. Experience has shown us that it's better that way.
Do you know anything about this man that's supposed to be representing the real mother?
Robinson? Nothing. I take it she went to him for advice. I wish I could help you, but...
Oh, I understand, Mr. Smith. Thanks again. For a national magazine about doing a story on black market babies. He gave me the go-ahead, and I was in business. I rented a car and spent the rest of the day chasing down leads. Everybody spoke highly of Smith and of his adoption home. No one had ever heard of a man named Robinson. Suddenly, the car I'd been using began to go out of control. I pushed down on the pedal, but I had no brakes. Maybe the brakes had been tampered with. Anyway, I'd been lucky. Next morning, I told Sheriff Morris about it.
Somebody wants you out of the way, Anders?
Maybe.
Mr. Anders, we're a law-abiding town. We don't need reporters snooping around here, stirring up hornets' nests.
Look, I came to see some friends. Not to find a story. You know anything about a man named Smith that runs an adoption home?
Sure I do. What about him?
That's what I'm asking you.
Well, Smith's been around here about 10 years. Lots of people who can't afford their babies get help from him. Others who want to adopt them get babies. Oh, I know it isn't up to snuff according to some social workers, but, well, it's legal in this state. Besides, we've never had any complaints about Smith. That answer your question?
Yeah. I got another one.
Oh, what is it?
Who loosened the bolts on the brake pedal? Like the sheriff wasn't going to be much help. So maybe a visit to Smith's office would be.
Get your hands up. Folder down.
You better put that down so it'll go off.
What are you doing here, Anders?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Smith, I'm writing a little story about the child adoption problem. So you might as well tell me what gives, because I'm going to find out sooner or later anyway.
I've told you all there was to tell.
No, I don't think so. See, I got kind of a sixth sense about things, Mr. Smith. Not about lies people tell, but the little facts that they leave out. Now, this man Robinson...
I told you all I know.
No, you didn't, Mr. Smith. Because the first time I talked to you, you told me Robinson's name. And that was after I'd purposely avoided using it myself. Now, you want to tell me what it's all about, Mr. Smith?
All right. I used to be a doctor. I got in a jam and lost my license. Then I opened this home. Believe me, I've worked hard. I've tried to make a new life.
Look, all I want to know is how Robinson found out about the Henshaws.
He knows about my past.
Oh. And he forced it out of you, right? Was the only time?
Yes.
Well, how about the baby's mother? The real mother. Do you think she knows what Robinson's doing?
I don't know what to think.
Well, I don't think she ever heard of a man named Robinson. That's yours. I made it my business to be around when Robinson came to see John and Sorry, but I thought I had a little surprise for him. I persuaded them to refuse to give him the money.
I'm afraid, then, you leave us no alternative.
Well, frankly, Mr. Robinson, we feel we've been more than generous.
That's not for me to decide. All I can tell you is you'll lose the baby.
Why don't you knock it off, Robinson? I know the score, so do you.
I don't understand.
I'll spell it for you. You got their name from Smith. Now you're holding them up for money.
I see. You know the score, all right. Yes, I got Smith to reveal the name, but I had no alternative. Mrs. Davis, that's the name of the baby's mother, came to me for help. She knew where she had left the baby, of course, and when Smith refused to help, well, after all, I represent the mother. Then she came to you. In case there's any doubt in your mind that I speak for the baby's mother, I'll tell you a few things I didn't have to ask Smith. For example, the baby's father was killed in a crash 3 months before he was born.
That's right. Mr. Smith told us, remember?
When the mother first saw him, she was a little worried about a scar over his right eye. It's gone away, by the way.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to know?
You could have forced those facts from Smith, too.
But I didn't have to.
You're not going to get any more money here.
And they'll lose the baby.
You can't take him from us. He's ours. We adopted him.
The mother, the real mother, now says she didn't know what she was doing. She changed her mind and she wants the baby back.
What about all that money?
You forced it on her to keep her from taking back her baby.
You want to know what I think? Nobody wants the boy back.
What makes you think that?
You're a fake. You don't represent anybody, Robinson. Only yourself.
I see. Well, fortunately, I thought this might be troubling the Hinshaws. If you'll excuse me a moment, I'd like to go to my car.
I'll go with you.
By all means. Johnny's mother. Mrs. Davis, let's say hello to the Hinshaws.
What are you doing here? Get out.
After I've talked to you.
Well, be quick about it. What do you want?
You nervous?
I'm busy. Now, please go.
I'll come right to the point. There's one question I want answered. You're the only one that can do it.
What is it?
If you wanted your baby so badly, why did you take that money from the Hinshaws? And I'll tell you what I think. You're not the mother.
What makes you say that?
Two things. First, you took the money, which means you didn't want the baby. Now you say you do want him, but you're not very happy about it, are you?
Cut it out.
What's the matter? Is that the truth?
Why can't you leave me alone?
Because there's a baby's life involved. And two friends of mine that love him.
Then why bother me about it? Tell it to Robinson.
Robinson. Robinson told you to say you were the mother, didn't he? But you're not. Look, you're playing around with a child's life. You saw the kind of love he's getting. You saw what was happening to the woman that loves him. How did you like what you saw?
I didn't like it. Robinson told me I was just supposed to stand there and say I was the kid's mother. When I saw what I was doing to those people, I didn't like it.
What are you going to do about it?
Do you really want to know? This is what I'm going to do. I'm getting out.
And you're not the mother, are you?
No. Tell them I'm sorry.
You mean that?
Didn't I just say so?
Prove it.
How?
Tell your story where it'll do some good.
Are you crazy? Robinson plays for keeps. Or maybe you didn't figure that.
Well, I figured it all right. Well, what do you say? You want to do something, or you just going to run away?
Why should I stick my neck out? What have they got to do with me?
Well, it's too bad you didn't get to talk. Sorry. You know, when she was 12 years old, the Germans threw her in a concentration camp. And later on, the Russians did the same thing. She never lost her faith in people. And she's losing it now.
Well, that's not my fault. If Robinson hadn't gotten me, it would have been somebody else.
Well, then think what a happy family means to a girl like that. Did you see her face when she found out she was going to lose her baby?
All right. I'll go with you.
Deputies, a man named Newton, found me and took me to the sheriff's office.
Feeling better?
Did you have somebody following the girl, too?
Yeah. We wanted them to lead us to the head man. However, I've only got one deputy on the job since Newton brought you in.
Your man get a line on him?
Yeah. They're in a motel outside of town. You know, somebody's going to want to see that girl soon.
When I first met you, I didn't think you were buying any of it.
I play cards, Mr. Anders. I don't believe in tipping my hand.
I guess that's why I lose at poker.
One thing's for sure. There's a smart blackmail ring operating around here. We've got to get the head man, otherwise we've got no case.
I got no story.
Yeah.
Looks like they only stopped long enough to pick up their bags. I'll stay with them.
Mister?
I don't know what happened. You should have been here by now.
Well, maybe they got scared and pulled out. How do you know you can trust them?
I did the best I could. I had to make certain the girl wouldn't spoil everything.
It's too bad they had to slug Anders.
Something must have gone wrong.
Here, wait in the next room. Oh, Mr. Anders, I'm so glad you've come.
I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, Mr. Smith. You don't mind, do you?
Why, not at all. Fire away.
Well, first, where can I find Robinson?
I don't know.
I see. Well, you told me that you gave him the Henshaw's name. Now, how many other names did you give him?
I told you there aren't any.
Don't give me that. There's a beautiful little racket going on here, Smith. And whoever is running it isn't going to be satisfied with blackmailing just one family. Because there are probably hundreds who are too scared to lose their babies and too scared to call the police. There's got to be other names.
There aren't any, Mr. Anders. Now, are there any other questions?
Oh, I guess my story wasn't going to be as big as I thought.
Yes, unfortunately for you, it isn't.
Unfortunately for you, I'm not buying any of it. This is too good a racket, and you're part of it with Robinson.
You think so?
Yes, I know so. You never were a doctor either, and I'll tell you something else. Robinson fronts for you. You blackmail every foster parent for all their income will allow, and you make sure that income is high enough for no baby, right?
I congratulate you, Mr. Anders. You're an able newspaper man.
Thank you.
gentleman, Robbie?
I heard him.
Yes, Robbie used to be quite handy with a gun before we moved into our present business. Listen carefully, Mr. Anders. You will now write a statement saying that you contrived all this, that you were just out for a story.
I will. You heard the gentleman. Sit down.
We'll make the details convincing.
So all I have to do is keep quiet, and the foster parents keep quiet, too, or they'll lose their children.
I could always count on that.
All I have to say is that I was faking a story, right?
That's right.
You think the sheriff's going to believe that?
Oh, yes, he'll believe enough of it. You see, if this gun goes off, I'll swear I saw you hold it on Robinson, and when he struggled to protect himself, it went off in your hand.
I don't think that'll work. Take the gun, Matt.
Thank you. Faking a story would be very bad for my reputation as a writer, Mr. Smith. Suppose you give us the real one. Who is the mother? Come on.
The real mother's dead.
You better call your wife.
The Hinshaws were able to complete the legal adoption of their new son. Matt Anders' story of the racket and baby adoption helped expose a vicious, cruel traffic in human emotions. Today, both federal and state agencies are moving to standardize all adoption procedures for the protection of adults and children.